Okay, we apologize for being late. So we are going to start the regular session. Hal alguien que necesite intérprete para la junta. This meeting is being recorded or broadcasted. Images and sounds may be captured of those attending the meeting. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Everyone please stand. Ready, begin.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
All motion to approve?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. And then we are on to 3C, recognitions. Dr. Munshi?
Okay. Good evening, trustees, community members. Welcome to our board meeting. Tonight, the district and the Board of Education have the pleasure of recognizing 7 significant community partners that have provided tremendous support to our workability program. The district workability program provides vocational training and education for students who receive special education services. Goodwill of Silicon Valley has been a longtime partner of our community. They provide opportunities for students to learn and practice vocational skills by giving them tasks to develop job skills. From hanging clothes on hangers, sorting by color, and stocking shelves, these students learn basic retail practices that can be utilized in other employment opportunities. Applebee's has also been another long-term partner that has worked with Gilroy High School adult transition for many years. Students are exposed to a food service environment and learn aspects of hospitality and kitchen prep in a safe manner. They roll silverware into napkins, wipe off menus, and help prep the restaurant before the busy lunch crowd arrives. We are grateful to align with 5 new business partners in the 24-25 school year. Los Cuates, Walgreens, Gilroy Library, Ace Hardware, and Cali Pet Goods. Students assisted Los Cuates with maintaining a clean front of house and prepping salsa ahead of the lunch rush 4 days a week. Working with Walgreens allowed students to hone in on the skills of organizing skills in a retail setting. With the previous collaboration with the SCCOE, Walgreens knows the value in providing our adult transition students with these valuable work experiences. At the Gilroy Library, students maintain an orderly work environment for library staff and patrons and have quickly become an indispensable part of their team. Ace Hardware allowed one of our 2 individual student workers the opportunity to develop their vocational skills in a retail setting by facing and stocking shelves. It is worth noticing that Mr. Manuel Rodriguez, the owner of our local hardware store, has experience with workability in his other stores and has seen firsthand the benefits of programs such as these. Cali Pet Goods fostered an environment that allowed our second individual student worker to gain confidence as they learn how to process retail transactions, keep an organized storefront, and assist in scheduling dog grooming appointments. In sum, each of these organizations provided valuable opportunities for our students to gain work experience and essential life skills, and for that, we are very grateful. On behalf of the Gilroy Unified School District and our students, thanks to each one of you for being such tremendous supporters of this critical program. And if you could all now please come forward so that we can recognize you, that'd be great. Do we want to do it one at a time? Okay, can we have Walgreens come up, please? And we are going to present a plaque that says, on behalf of the Workability One program, we would like to extend our sincere gratitude to Walgreens for your outstanding support and commitment to empowering students during the 2024-25 school year.
Here's Callie Pat.
No, apparently not.
No, he's not here tonight. Next, we have Los Cuates. They're not here? Okay, we'll hold it for them. We have Ace Hardware.
Didn't right now.
Okay, they're not here either. Applebee's. Okay, not here. Goodwill?
Yeah. No.
No? Okay. And Gilroy Library. Oh, Callie's.
Yes. Our star workers.
Oh, you already? Yeah, but the team members? Yes, of course, please.
Come join us.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
If you would like, you can leave or you can stay for the full agenda.
But thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, we are on to 3D, general public comment. This portion of the meeting is reserved for members of the public to address the board on items within the jurisdiction of the Board of Trustees. If you wish to make public comments, please submit a speaker card to the clerk. In accordance with Board Bylaw 9323, individual remarks will be limited to 3 minutes each. And the maximum time will be 45 minutes. It looks like we have two speakers. If I can have Elizabeth Munoz Rosas and then Greg Felias.
Oh, if you could please. Yeah.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Munoz Rosas. I'm a new supervising librarian at the Gilroy Library. I've been with them for over 10 years, but this is my second year as supervisor. And as that I had expressed earlier to Alvaro, I have been feeling very supported with Gilroy Unified School District for supporting us for our pop-up libraries, for e-cards, and for allowing us to have this workability program. It has helped me tremendously with my work. They are essential to our services that we provide at the library. We have started with 1 day a week on Mondays, and we're expanding it to Wednesdays because we need more students. They do a lot of tasks from us, from organizing our books, cleaning, labeling, arranging furniture for our programs. They're just essential. They're really good at keeping track of everything, all the tasks that we have. I just wanted to express that I feel very supported as a new supervisor here. And thank you again for all the support. I hope, I can give it back to all of the kids. And summer reading, we just had a kickoff yesterday. So far, we have 500 kiddos that has a little bit over 500 that have signed up for summer reading. I know it's nowhere near to the, what do we have, 10,000 students? But I'm making progress for the second day. I'm feeling super happy. The kids are coming to our library. We have a beautiful play space, a new thing. If you haven't visited the library, please go visit the library, free library card. And we have a play space meant for kids 0 to 10 where they develop motor skills. So visit us. We're open every day of the week. And thank you, everyone.
Hi, I'm Greg Filios. I'm a community member. Just wanted to, this is the last meeting before next year for the summer, and I wanted you guys to go out on a good note. I want to give you some positive feedback. I want to shout out to all the public servants. I'm kind of bummed that they're not here because I wanted to address all of you public servants who work so hard behind the scenes to make our schools function. And people don't know about you guys. They don't know the work that you guys do. And you guys are the foundation of our school system. And without the foundation, you can't build on them, And people see, what nice buildings, everything else, and they don't know what it took to build the foundation to build these schools on. So I'm thanking you for all of the hard work that you guys do. I wish more people knew about you guys. Don't be afraid to tell you guys, to tell people about you guys. Don't be afraid to get out there. You're nice people, and get out there. Let people know who you are and what kind of stuff you do. That's what I'm doing for you. I'm a cheerleader. I'll back you guys. Second thing, the last meeting was amazing. It was a marathon meeting, but the reason it was because you were discussing important issues, the graduation requirements. Fascinating. It amazes me the patience and the persistence and the determination that you have to satisfy all the students. When I was younger, we had if the kids, and this is 55 years ago, if the kids weren't measuring up, they sent them over to the continuation school, we never heard about them. But you are really working to try to get to each and every one of the students. That's fascinating, and that's a tough thing to do. And I wish the parents and the students and in the community would appreciate how hard it is to service each and every one of these students. So I thank you for that too. And so now, so for this nice meeting, let's authorize more contracts so we can give them some resources so they can do more. So let's carry on. Very good.
Okay, now we are on to item 3E, report of action taken in closed session. Do you want me to read? All right, so Dr. Munshi?
Absolutely. So it is my absolute pleasure to make an announcement. At the closed session earlier today, the Board of Education unanimously approved the appointment of Ms. Diane Padilla as the district's new Program Administrator of Mental Health and Wellness. Ms. Padilla was born and raised in Gilroy and has attended local schools, graduating from Gilroy High School in 1993. She earned a bachelor's degree in liberal arts from CSU Stanislaus and returned to Gilroy to begin her career in public education following graduation from college. She was hired by GUSD in 2002, where she began her over 20 years of service to our community as a teacher, a counselor, and principal of Mount Madonna High School, where she has served from 2016 until her new appointment. Her commitment to serve students and families in Gilroy is evident in her drive for excellence while motivating students to achieve success. She enjoys spending time with her family, including her husband, who's a teacher at Gilroy High School, and their two children, Bella and Noah. Congratulations, Ms. Diane Padilla. We are so excited to see you in this new role.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Munshi, for making this appointment. We are so thrilled, Ms. Padilla, to have you in this role. I can't see your face. There you are. So you are the perfect person for this position, and we have the utmost confidence in you just to take this position and just thrive. We're so lucky to have you.
Okay, now we are on to report of action taken under agenda item 2D. The board voted 6-0 to deny reinstatement for students with case numbers 2023-19 and 2024-09 with trustees Del Bono, Fayak, Moreno, Nelson, Paceno, and Yi Baker voting to deny reinstatement and trustee Kim absent. The board voted 6-0 to readmit students with case numbers 2025-02, 2025-04, 2025-11, 2025-18, and 2025-19, with trustees Del Bono, Fayak, Moreno, Nelson, Paceno, and Yi Baker voting yes, and trustee Kim absent. The board voted 5-1 to readmit student with case number 2025-03 with trustees Del Bono, Fayak, Nelson, Paceno, and Yi Baker voting yes, trustee Moreno voting no, and trustee Kim absent. The board voted 5-1 to readmit student with case number 2025-08 with trustees Del Bono, Fayak, Moreno, Paceno, and Yi Baker voting yes, trustee Nelson voting no, and trustee Kim absent. Okay. And then now we are done with the report of action taken in closed session. So we are on to item 4, superintendent's report.
Thank you. I am going to start with June 7th. Since our last board meeting, June 7th, I volunteered at the Rotary Pickleball Tournament at South Valley Middle School. That was a day of double duty for me. I don't play pickleball, but it was fun to hang out, and I'm very inspired to learn this summer. Seems easy, but I know it's not. Also on June 7th, I then hopped over to watch our students play at the soccer clinic, which was hosted by Catholic Charities, and we had San Jose Earthquakes over there. So I got a shirt, and I got to see our high school kids coaching, and our younger kids were playing. So a lot of fun. On June 10th, several of you attended the Mount Madonna High School graduation with me, and this time it was at Gilroy Gardens, which was a new venue for us. Also on June 11th, I attended all 3 middle school promotions that were hosted at Gilroy High School. And this was, again, going back to tradition. Some of you may remember we, in the past, hosted the middle school promotions at Gilroy High, and then we kind of moved away from that during COVID years. So this was kind of going back to an old tradition this year. Also on June 12th, I have shared with the board, I believe that this year is Rotary's 100th year, and the lunch, they call it midday Rotary. There are 3 Rotaries in Gilroy, and the noon Rotary for the 100-year anniversary is doing a drive, and their goal is to raise close to $100,000 to $125,000 where they will be donating 100 trees to Gilroy Unified, books for all of our schools, and then also they're hoping anywhere from 20 to 100 benches. Their vision, and once we'll invite them here, obviously, once all of this is done. But they created this cute logo of a tree with a bench underneath and a student with a book in hand reading under the tree. That is their vision. So we got our first assignment of books, and they came in and put labels on all the books, and we did a little photo op. And these books will be distributed at all our sites, preschool through high school. On June 12th, we had the Gilroy High School graduation, and then June 13th, Christopher High School graduation, where several of you were with me. As we wrap up this year, I think you saw that the last 2 weeks, they've been quite astounding. Watching thousands of our family members and friends gather to celebrate the achievement of our students, ranging from preschool to adult education. Believe me, we've had graduations, promotions for preschool, TK, kindergarten, 5th grade, middle school, high school, adult ed. So it's the whole span. And all of that is a testimony of the hard work being done by our students. Like many others, my heart was filled with joy and inspiration. And as it might have been for many others, the thought that crossed my mind at all of those ceremonies was, this is why we do this work. I would like to close out this year by thanking the board and the Gilroy Unified School District staff. And that includes heroes like our custodians, food services staff, bus drivers, maintenance and operations staff, IT staff, district office staff, and so many others that are working diligently behind the scenes to make sure that our campuses are ready to serve students. My utmost gratitude also goes out to our teachers, counselors, social workers, nurses, front office staff, and so many itinerant staff that work daily with staff and students. And then there's our leadership team that is ready to jump into action at any time of the day or night, including their vacations and holidays. I'm very proud of everything we have accomplished this year, beginning with the maintaining of our fiscal solvency at a time when many districts are struggling with budget deficits. We have been able to maintain the required 10% reserve. We have received positive certification from the SCCOE for several years now. We gave a 2.5% raise along with an increase in benefits to our employees in a year where COLA was about 1%. Most districts are not doing that. We have also been able to successfully avoid closing another school so far with some strategic planning and movement of programs to balance enrollment. On the curriculum and instruction side, we expanded the dual immersion program to preschool and TK. And at the same time, we are also exploring options to expand CTE pathways and dual enrollment opportunities for our high school students. We are so excited to expand opportunities for our students at Mount Madonna High School as they transition to their new campus later this year. Last year, we were able to offer culinary arts and CTE classes at Metro Ed. And later this year, we plan on bringing together a committee that will include staff, students, and parents to explore courses and pathways that allow a variety of options for our students at Mount Madonna. Our vision is that when a student graduates from Mount Madonna, they will either directly enroll, we will do a warm handoff at Gavilan, or they will walk away with a license where next day they can start a job. That is our vision for our students. We have also strengthened our preschool and TK curriculum, knowing and fully understanding how important the early years of learning are for our students to be successful. And that, with that in mind, this coming school year, we are opening 13 TK classrooms spread across all our elementary campuses. Every elementary school will have a TK available. To support staff, we have been providing training on developing professional learning communities that are focused on analyzing data to guide our instructional practices. There is much to celebrate, and one of the most important achievements that we have made was the opening of our 7 wellness centers at all of our secondary schools. Mental health and wellness is a top priority in our district. And we have added 17 positions at a cost of approximately $3.2 million in the last 3 years. 7 of these positions were added just this past year. Other highlights include beginning the strategic vision planning process, the creation of the Arts Education Strategic Plan, English Learner Master Plan, the AI policy, the Facilities Master Plan that we are working on, which will be ready by December this year, and it'll guide the future needs of our district. I can go on and on about what we have done, but then we'd be sitting here for a long time. But I just want to wrap up this school year, and thank you, Mr. Filios, for the recognition and the acknowledgement earlier. I want to wrap up this year by saying how proud I am of Gilroy Unified Team and how honored I am to have this opportunity to lead this team, making sure that over 10,000 students are receiving a high-quality education and that 14 of our school sites and all the other facilities that we own are equipped with everything that they need to provide a safe learning environment does not happen in isolation. And it's not a coincidence. It requires strategic planning. There is much to be done. And I'm very confident that our amazing team will be ready to continue this transformation when students return in August. Thank you for the opportunity. And once again, my heart is full, and I cannot tell you how proud I am of our district and the work we are doing. That was a long report. I don't usually do that, but it's the last meeting.
Thank you, Dr. Mucci. I think it's definitely important. I think one of the things that we could definitely do better is telling the community about all of the successes, right? We tend to like put our heads down and do the work, but that also equals a lot of people in the community don't know how much work that we as a district have done for the community and for our families and students. So I appreciate that report. Thank you. Okay, so now we are on to our consent agendas. Seeing that items 5, 6, 7, and 8 are all consent agenda items, can I make a recommendation that we vote all in one? Do I have a second? Yeah.
Did I make the motion?
You can make the motion.
Okay, I move that we approve items 5, 6, 7, and 8, because they're all on consent.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So then do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Items 5.
Wait, we just did
Oh,
that.
you did that? I'm
We did
sorry. I
that.
thought the motion was, I'm sorry.
Fine.
I'm a little slow today.
Okay, no,
Let's just go back.
consent items
Okay.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Got it. Okay, so you move to approve. Got it.
And I
Yeah.
second
Thank
it,
you.
and then we voted.
Thank you. Okay, so now we are on to item 9. Yes,
Can I say one thing?
yes.
Yeah, I apologize for saying this now, but it had been hitting me and I didn't know when to say it, and I just want to acknowledge it through no one's fault in our district. And I know everyone did, the graduations were beautiful. There was so much security and just support and the live streaming. I just still am just thinking about, and I just want to acknowledge the families who were still afraid to show up in person. I'm just thinking about them right now. And I do appreciate the live stream option. That was really helpful for some. But I'm just thinking about those families right now, that it was such a privilege to be able to show up in person. And then the other thing that I just want to acknowledge, that there was so much celebration and so much beauty. And I too felt so proud of our community. And it was just an awesome time at the end of the year. I also want to acknowledge the passing of our student from Christopher High School, and that heartbreaking, tremendous loss for his family, his friends, the community at Christopher High School. I don't know if he was in our district the entire time, but any of the teachers that, supported him as he grew up, and just thinking about all of them right now and the impact.
So now we are on to section 9A, adopt the 2025-2026 GUSD budget. This is an action item. The Board of Education held a public hearing on the 2025-26 budget and its local control accountability plan on May 29th, 2025. GUSD's public hearing budget remains unchanged and relies upon the key variables from the May revise. The California legislature will meet its statutory obligation to send a budget bill to the governor by midnight on June 15, 2025. Governor Newsom then has 12 days after receiving the bill to sign, approve without signing, or veto such the bill. In accordance with the Education Code 42127H, GUSD will have 45 days after the governor signs the Budget Act to make the necessary budget revisions should it lead to additional revenues for the district. Did I say what you're supposed to say?
Absolutely, President Fayek. Couldn't have said it better. Thank you so much. Thank you,
Sorry,
President
I just
Fayek.
read what's in front of me.
Thank you so much. As you're well aware, Board, good evening, Superintendent, and members of the public as well. We had a public hearing on May 29th. As President Fayek mentioned, the budget hasn't changed yet. Our budget hasn't changed because our assumptions are under the big umbrella of the May revision. We know that Senate Bill 101 has been sent to the governor for signature. The governor has not yet signed it. So we do not have yet an enacted budget. The party leaders are still negotiating with the governor. That final bill will very likely change some key elements. Some of the things that we're looking at is the final, obviously, allocation of Prop 98. Unfortunately, Senate Bill 101 basically took the governor's proposal to shortchange Prop 98, meaning underfund the calculated formula by $1.3 billion. So unfortunately, the Senate and the Assembly, the legislative body, accepted that as a proposal. So they're going along with the governor on that piece. The deferrals, for what we know, have substantially decreased by $1 billion. So the IOU is still there, but a lot smaller. The one-time allocation of the student support discretionary block grant was initially $1.8 billion in January. It was $1.7 billion in May, and now it's only $500 million at the state level. That's like a 70% cut from May revision to now. So originally, we were looking at possibly around $2.9 million of one-time money in terms of that block grant. Now it's at best $860,000. That's disappointing. But those are the key elements that I'm looking at right now. As I mentioned, the actual budget that you're asked to adopt tonight isn't changed from the public hearing. It's still the same, but those elements that I just described are the key elements that I'm looking for. Should we need to revise the budget in August, at the August 7th meeting, we'll definitely do that. We'll provide in the briefing some key specific information in terms of what changed. But we'll really focus on those key elements that we're looking for tonight. We know that the LCAP and some narrative around the LCAP possibly will still change, but it won't be material as we work with the county office to get final approval from their office. But it won't be substantive or significant or anything like that. It'll just be minor tweaks to the actual plan. Whatever we conclude with the county office will be posted on the website in terms of a final document, but it shouldn't impact our actual budget tonight.
Board, are there any questions regarding the budget? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
Move approval?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, then we are on to 9B. This is a roll call vote. Resolution number 2425-46, adopt education protection account, EPA Prop 55 spending plan for 2025-2026 school year. And this is formerly Prop 30, and this is an action item. Ms. Kimberly Smith, Director of Fiscal Services, will not present.
Yeah. Thank you, President Fayak. I'm covering for Kimberly right now. The annual resolution in front of you, it's to account for Prop 30 revenues. It was over, I guess, 2000, I forgot, I looked it up earlier. I think 2006, 16, something like that. It's generated between Prop 55 and Prop 30 over $104 billion at the state. And that's numbers that are basically about a year ago today. So it's obviously generated more than $104 billion to the state. That means it's relief, supports public education. We hope that it gets extended by December 31 of 2030. But right now, we're living on those extension of taxes, and we ask for your approval.
Board, any questions?
I don't know if I should do this. So,
Gone this far, you might as well.
okay, so I'll just do that. That it would be nice if everybody in Sacramento supported education.
Thank you, Trustee Nelson.
I can
Thank
do
you,
it.
Trustee Nelson.
Oh my God.
So it's paying, as you know, it's paying for many, many people, $10 million. worth.
$104 billion, and that's
In the
as of a
state.
year ago today.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of support for public education.
Uh-huh. So if nobody else has a comment, I can say, you know, we can move approval and then we can, because we have to, everybody has to.
Yes. Do I have a second?
A second?
Okay, roll call vote.
Jennifer Del Bono,
Aye.
Twin Fayak,
Yes.
Gabriella Kim absent, Kenny Moreno,
Yes.
Michelle Nelson,
Yes.
Linda Paceno,
Yes.
Hanshu Yi Baker. Thank you.
We are on to item 9C, the 2025-26 school year amended contracts for the superintendent, resolution number 2425-47, assistant superintendent, CBO, resolution number 2425-48, and assistant superintendent, human resources, resolution number 2425-49. This is an action item. So basically, we are asking the board to extend the contracts for the superintendent and also the assistant superintendent of CBO, Alvaro Meza, and assistant superintendent of human resources, Paul Winslow.
I have a question.
Yes.
So when I first read it in the beginning, it made it seem like it's a 1-year extension for like 1 year, right? The contract ends in 2026 for the superintendent and extending it 1 more year. That's the way, well, that's the way I felt like I read it in the beginning. And then I see here, it's an additional 4 years, so 2 through 2029. Okay. And the rationale for that is what?
I believe that is, actually, Mr. Winslow?
Thank you, President Fiac. I'll speak on this, although I'm a part of this agenda item. So just to remind the board, there are 3 contracted employees in the Gilroy Unified School District. Each one of our contracts establish a period of time that the contract exists. So the superintendent currently is on a 4-year cycle, and the 2 assistant superintendents are on 3-year cycles. Per each of our individual contracts, the board has the authority to take action every year to extend that block by 1 single year to maintain a 4-year cycle and a 3-year cycle. And that goes to the board every single year, should the board want to do that. And so that's the reason why the existing contracts are 4 or 3-year blocks. And then every year it's to extend it out by 1 year to maintain those existing blocks.
Does that answer your question?
It answers my question.
Two things. Dr. Winslow, the 3-year contract for contracted assistant soups is the maximum allowed, correct, by law?
Maximum by law is 4 years. The tradition of the board is should they, the superintendent is typically on a 4-year.
Right.
And the assistant supes are on 3s. It's more of a tradition here, but the max is 4 per law.
And that, my second point you made, which is, it is the tradition of Gilroy Unified for as far back as I know, that every year we extend the contract by a year.
Yes, and I think just to highlight Gilroy, really has probably, I would say, the most stable management team in Santa Clara County. And so I think that's the tradition that the board is of interest to maintain stable management in order to properly operate the district. So, correct.
I have a statement if there are no more questions, clarifying questions. Okay, I wrote it down because it's easier for me to do that than just like speak off the cuff. So I'll read. While as a trustee, I recognize and I appreciate Dr. Munshi's service to the Gilroy Unified School District, extending the superintendent's contract at this time is not justified due to a lack of demonstrated progress in key areas directly under this leadership. There's insufficient evidence of student achievement thus far. So since Dr. Munshi's appointment, there has not yet been consistent improvement in student outcomes for the most disadvantaged students in our district. Student performance data does not show substantial gains in test scores, closing of the achievement gap, or measurable progress aligned with established district goals. Renewing or extending a multi-year contract should be contingent upon verified evidence of student success. Attendance rates across the district have decreased, and there's still no evidence of a solid plan for improvement. Chronic absenteeism has a direct negative impact on student learning and district funding. Leadership must be held accountable for addressing and reversing this trend before committing to a long-term employment extension. The Local Control and Accountability Plan, the LCAP, outlines specific goals and actions to improve student outcomes, engagement, and school climate. Current reports and data do not yet provide sufficient evidence that these goals are being met or that implemented strategies are yielding significant positive results, especially for English language learners, students with disabilities, and foster youth. Extending the contract now risks sending the message that the district does not prioritize accountability to its own plan. In light of these factors, and we have not yet completed an evaluation, extending the superintendent's contract through 2029 is premature and does not align with responsible stewardship of public resources or the district's commitment to student-centered progress. It would be more prudent for us as a board to defer any extension until clear, measurable improvements in student achievement, attendance, and LCAP outcomes are demonstrated, and I'm hopeful they will be coming.
Do I have any other board comments? Yes. Trustee Nelson.
That was gutsy. Was? Yeah, it was. I have been on the other side, union president and so forth, and I've seen some real interesting characters come through this district. Interesting is, being charitable. I know it's still early, but I have confidence in this superintendent, and I'm comfortable, even given a little bit of a lack of some data that we're going in the right direction, and I want to give her the chance to keep going. I think she is a visionary leader and has a good team, and I want her to know that I'm in her court. I'll be voting yes. Okay.
Any other comments? Yes, Trustee Nelson. Pisano.
Who am I?
There I go again.
So, bad Tad. Seeing no other comments, I move approval.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Ah, Roll call, isn't
Oh,
it?
this is a roll call, sorry. Yes.
Jennifer Del Bono,
No.
Twin Fayak,
A wholehearted yes.
Gabriella Kim absent, Kenny Moreno,
Yes.
Michelle Nelson,
Yes.
Linda Paceno,
Absolutely.
Hanchu Yi Baker. Thank you.
Now we are on to item 9D, adoption of the Gilroy Unified School District Locum Control Accountability Plan for the 2025-2026 school year, and this is an action item. Ms. Jean Wells Southland and Sonia Flores will present.
Good evening, President Fayak, Vice President Paceno, trustees, and Superintendent Munshi. We are back this evening requesting approval of our LCAP plan, which we believe is a solid plan to provide some good results for our students in the coming years. As a reminder, we held a public hearing on May 29th to present the LCAP to the public. The local indicators were also presented to you on May 29th. SCOE has completed their first review of our LCAP, and they have recommended some revisions that we provided to you in your packet previously. So this evening, we are asking for your final approval. This is a recap of the provisions that were and items that were requested to be changed. As Mr. Mesa said, the county may request further revisions, and we will update the board at that time. Upon approval, you'll be approving these areas: the budget overview, the plan summary, how we've engaged educational partners, our goals and actions, increased and improved services, our action tables, and even the instructions at the end. So our next steps are to seek your approval, submit our LCAP to the County Office of Ed by June 30th, and our LCAP will be posted to the GUSD website.
Board, are there any questions?
I do. I'm not in the LCAP. I'm not seeing the specific targeted interventions for foster youth as it pertains to increased attendance or chronic absenteeism. Where, I mean, is it there? Am I just not seeing it?
Yes, so they are there. So when we look at the subcategories, we have to
Okay.
pull the document. So
Thank you.
That's 197 pages.
Right.
Well, so looking at LCAP Goal 2.
Yeah.
And LCAP Goal 3. Action 3.2.
3.2, thank you. Okay, so attendance rate, actions 3.2, okay.
And also when you look at the beginning of the LCAP where it talks about our targeted categories,
Mhm.
that we talked about differentiated assistance, those actions are outlined there.
I'm sorry, so when you said you said action 3.2, I'm looking on page 52?
We have 54 and 55. So under
Okay.
3.1, under attendance,
Yes.
you have GUSD staff will increase engagement by identifying and addressing barriers to attendance in the following increase interventions rooted in restorative practices. And then it
Right.
lists A, B, C, and D. And then underneath it says with regard to action 3.1.C, all schools will focus on chronic absenteeism for foster youth across the school district. Additionally, attendance liaisons at the following schools will focus efforts to contact the named subgroups per the red performance indicators around chronic absenteeism on the 23 and then 24 dashboard results indicated only one school with two subgroups were marked red on the performance indicator for this area. So based on the performance indicators, right, in 2023, there were quite a few. And in
Mhm.
2024, we only had two subgroups that were marked red.
So we have, yeah. So as we've looked at the California dashboard under our differentiated assistance, we've reduced the number of categories that we are targeted for in differentiated assistance. And our foster youth, we have made improvements in those areas.
So So other than the attendance liaison making contact, do we have any other specific targeted strategies to improve in,
Sorry.
in that area for those students in particular?
Yes, we have a whole team. It's our state and federal programs team that's headed up by Nicole Pearson. And so her team directly supports and works as a liaisons with the County Office of Ed and their foster youth department in supporting our students. And so we have targeted outreach to those families, targeted actions. We have tutoring that's available to those students. There's a list of resources that are provided through our state and federal programs team.
And also under A, B, C, and D, we have the attendance and welfare coordinator, and then also the senior staff secretary for welfare and attendance. Both of those are being paid out of LCAP Goal 3 for this reason, so that we also have an administrator who's supporting the attendance efforts.
Thank you.
Yes, trustee Pisano.
Unfair question, but do we know how many foster youth we have in the district right now?
We do, but
Ballpark?
we don't have it handy. We can provide that to you
Okay,
in one of our reports. And that number does fluctuate depending on the time of year.
I would imagine, yeah.
Any other questions?
So while you're here, I don't understand really, I've been trying to, I was like looking a little bit. I'm not clear what that County Office of Ed person does who supports Gilroy and Morgan Hill. I know they monitor act, but what is it that they do specifically?
In terms of supporting us for differentiated assistance,
Supporting the foster youth.
so, yeah, so they have a whole team, so they're looking at caseloads, they're ensuring that we're in compliance with suspension, they have suspension rights, turning into their case managers, all types of things. Nicole meets with them on a monthly basis. They have a consortium that meets regularly.
So they're more supporting us in our processes, but they don't do the direct service to the youth.
They do not do the direct services, yeah. They can link us to the services for the use, but they're really to ensure that we are legally compliant with the services that we're providing, particularly around suspension and discipline data.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments regarding LCAP?
I have one more question and I'm done. What is specifically being done to increase the ELAC participation rate? Because that was kind of like flatlined, and I'm not sure, parents, like, I don't want to say which school, but one parent was saying, I really just need help like getting this going. I'm just wondering what is specifically going to be done so we can increase that percentage?
Yes, I can think right off the top of my head, with Myrna working with Anna Polito. So we had PK, did extensive outreach to really engage and train our families to help empower them and see the benefit of being involved in school. I think, Anna, do you remember the number that?
Oh, God.
Like 150 families
I had
total?
shared that in a report with the board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are the things we're looking at. How are we meeting the needs of families who are increasingly have demands to, have more work schedules, so attending meetings is difficult, so having hybrid meetings for those, doing family outreach. Our school sites are looking at, do they have daytime meetings, do they have evening meetings, providing childcare, really looking at those resources at the school site to increase attendance for ELAC.
Well, I can think of a couple of the schools in particular that I kept hoping like they should be here, right? Or even representing at DLAC. And I'm just curious, so is the district office working specifically with the site leaders to say, how can we support you to get this going? And how can you be like
Yes.
those
Yes, again,
conversations?
Our state and federal programs teams led by Nicole Pearson and her team, supported by Sonia and myself, does that support. So as we're planning ahead for next year, we already have our calendar of events, the resources, the family engagement activities. So our principals will have that information as they start the school year. So that's held in our team at the district office.
What are you hoping for percentage wise?
I mean, The attendance rate at each school site is varied depending on the population. So I think that all the principals are hoping that they're going to see, larger gains in their participation through ELAC, combining those with some of their family engagement activities so that we have childcare and other resources. In terms of percentage gained, I think our principals will present that in their SIPSA presentations in the fall and what they're looking at and doing individually for their school sites.
Well, our percentage is 70%. What are we hoping for this next year? Are you?
For our attendance in our DLAC,
Well, I'll pause on that. There's a percentage rate that we have here as 70%, and I thought it was ELAC or DLAC, I think. Yeah, I can pause on that one.
So yeah, that percentage refers to ensuring that all of our school sites
Yeah.
have the appropriate representation and an ELAC at their school site.
Yeah, fully constituted ELAC
Yes.
and DLAC.
And that's an FPM item that we addressed and cleared through FPM this year.
Can you explain what that means?
So federal program monitoring is something that we're lucky to have happen to us on a regular basis. And so this year, our English learner programs were under federal program review. And so they look at our instructional programs, they look at the composition of our DLAC, the composition of our ELAC. Are we legally compliant in our noticing to families? And again, the composition of our ELACs, do we have the right representation? Are we providing notices in languages? So there's a whole list of probably about 125 items, and we cleared all of our items from the federal program monitors in the state of California.
So it's kind of like an audit.
It is very
And-
much like
and
an
we
audit.
passed.
And we passed. And this year was
Perfect.
on site, so they actually physically came to our schools, visited classrooms, reviewed documentation, spent a lot of time with us, met with parents, met with teachers, met with principals.
So according to experienced auditors, we passed and there are no issues.
Yes, and we're on the right path.
Right, our
Yes.
goal in 2026 is 100%. We're at 70%. So I was asking, are we on track for what we're going to do to bridge that gap?
Yes, so based on meeting all of our requirements of our monitoring, we are on track to meet that goal.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? All right. So then this is an action item. Do I have a motion?
All motion to approve.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you very
we are
much.
on to item E, adoption of new instructional materials and adoption of new textbooks, and this is an action item.
Good evening, President Fayak, Vice President Pisano, trustees, Dr. Munshi. So you have in front of you a packet of all of the new instructional materials, the quotes for all of the textbooks. It was already here at the last board meeting for the first read. This is the second read for the formal adoption. So board approval for this adoption is requested.
Are there any questions or comments? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Then we are on to item F, approval of special education course descriptions for alternative pathway to a diploma, and this is an action item.
Good evening. I'm presenting information about that alternative pathways to a diploma, requesting board approval for the courses that would support student participation in the pathway. At the last board meeting, we presented recommendations about our graduation requirements, and these requirements regarding the alternative pathways to a diploma were approved and have been signed into law under AB 181 and SB 114. The new law allows an alternate pathway to a high school diploma for students with significant cognitive disabilities, namely for students eligible to take the California Alternate Assessment, or the CAW. The purpose of this new law is to allow students with disabilities, including students with significant cognitive disabilities, to enter high school knowing that they have an opportunity to earn a high school diploma. And it is a regular high school diploma that holds students to alternate achievement standards, and the requirements are those of the state minimum coursework, exempting students from additional local graduation requirements, and allows students to remain eligible for special education after graduation until age 22. Eligible students are still required to complete state standards aligned coursework aligned with the state diploma requirements, and we plan to do this through our Teach Town curriculum. And as you recall from the last board meeting, a CAW-eligible student's four-year sequence would look something like this based on their IEP. And we plan to utilize the standards-aligned curriculum or Teach Town to support our CAW-eligible students. And we would continue to use our diploma waivers for non-CAW-eligible students. The determination for a student's diploma path starts with that with first determining whether a student is CAW eligible with that transition plan from middle school to high school, where the IEP team comes together to evaluate how the student has progressed through their education with the various accommodations and support classes in place. This flow chart, which we reviewed last time, shows how students would be identified for the alternative pathway to a diploma. And we discussed and approved at the last board meeting the IEP waiver process. We currently have this in place for our students with disabilities to provide students with flexibility for our A through G requirements. And we also discussed the expanded waiver process. And I do want to note that IEP goals and progress towards goals must be completed and accurately documented, and accommodations must be in place to support students with disabilities prior to any waivers being approved. However, this alternative pathway to a diploma, it shows you it's, again, the state requirements, and you can see how each of the course descriptions takes an integrated or two-year approach to teaching the subjects. This is an example for English, and then we would maintain an integrated approach to math, as you can see here, an integrated approach for science courses, and for social studies as well. And so board approval is requested of the special education course descriptions for the alternative pathway to a diploma in alignment with the recent updates to state policy and California Ed Code. Thank you.
Board, are there any questions? Yes. Trustee Nelson.
Sorry to ask this. I just heard about something yesterday that Teach Town is not the best. I mean, is this the one? Is this the one and only? It had, I'm sorry.
I too heard complaints.
So I just have to say, it's interesting to hear because Teach Town is what is also in the webinars and that CDE recommends. We had, prior to this, we had Unique that we were using, but this directly aligned with the state standards, and it's the modified curriculum. So when Sonia had talked about how they will complete the standards, or these essential standards that they must complete in order and achieve certain benchmarks with the modified curriculum. And so Teach Town directly aligns with that. All our surrounding districts use Teach Town. And then I'll also talk, I have another item, and I will refer to SELPA, our Special Education Local Planning Area, and the other high school districts are using Teach Town. So it is highly recommended. Another reason that we're using Teach Town is, again, surrounding districts. We often have students transfer back and forth between the districts, and so it's an easier transition when we receive and students work into other districts. It is a fairly new curriculum. We piloted at the end of last year with a few of our classes, and we fully rolled it out this year with a lot of support. So it's very new. People are still learning how to use it. We check in monthly with our high school teachers, and we will have some release days again this year to get our teachers up and coming. So, you know, transitioning to something new is always hard. I think it's also hard, I'm just going to speak from my heart, because there are really benchmarks and things and accountability that they have to hit with these essential standards and earn a grade like all other students. So we're welcome to feedback on how we can support, but yes, it came very highly recommended. Sonia can agree with me that we went to many meetings with CDE, different SELPAs that were further in the process than us, and Teach Town. So it was very aligned. It was also supportive in helping us get the information for our course descriptions. So we're pleased with the research that we've done, and actually the success that we're seeing with the students, because we have implemented it this year.
One follow-up question. So the other districts, did they have some pushback initially?
we always get pushback when there's doing something new.
Okay. But then they like it now?
I think there's always reservations with, different curriculum. Every teacher likes to, make with what they have. And so there's no one perfect curriculum, because if there were, then yeah. But that said, the teachers have expressed some of their concerns about the Teach On curriculum, especially when we've done our walkthroughs. But we also know that this is what is out there, that is aligned with the state standards. It is also adopted widely because it is one of the better ones. And we haven't really seen anything that is
No.
that would address the concerns that the teachers have shared.
And I think another reason, if I can add about Teach Town, is we also want to make the experience, and we've really worked hard to have, our special education programs be comparable, and students to have as much of the same experience as all students have. So one thing, when we had another curriculum, it was really, a lot of it was all online. And so it was up the responsibility of teachers to print out the materials, and that became very laborious. So one thing that we did with Teach Town is they provide books and consumables. So all students get a book, they get papers, and there is the digital component. And I think that has been very helpful. It has taken the work off of some of our special ed staff, and it's also given students that experience.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, this is an action item. Do I have a motion?
All motion to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, now we are on to item G, updated acceptable use policy, academic honesty policy, staff acceptable use policy, and artificial intelligence guidance. And this is an action item. Ms. Flores.
Good evening again. I will be presenting an update regarding our district's ed tech committee's work with solutionary advisors around our AI policy and guidance. You can see the timeline of our involvement with solutionary advisors here. You had heard from Eric Burmeister on April 3rd in the study session, which gave us direction about the steps to take to draft AI policy and guidance for Gilroy Unified. We met with solutionary advisors since that meeting and had the opportunity to review our existing policies and add in the revisions to reflect the newest expectations around teacher and student AI use. As you may recall, the discussion held on April 3rd helped shape the direction on how our board policy and staff guidance should support the safe, equitable, and strategic exploration of AI use in Gilroy. Solutionary advisors supported us with reviewing data, attaining board direction, drafting the policy and guidance, and collaborating with the Ed Services team around the policy revisions and guidance development. Thank you also for approving tonight's agenda item, amending the existing contract with solutionary advisors so that they may return to GUSD in August to inform our teachers of the revisions should they be approved, but also about AI guidance for our school district. Eric Burmeister reviewed some data about the fact that AI is prevalent in our everyday lives, and he highlighted the tensions with integrating AI into education. He outlined how solutionary advisors would align their work with our district priorities, and he shared data around AI use from elementary, middle, and high school staff, highlighting that academic integrity and student misuse were the biggest concerns, while noting the fact that AI can help teachers with lesson planning and instructional design. Student responses also demonstrated that they rarely and occasionally used AI, at least as reported on the survey. And students shared their own concerns that AI might replace jobs in the future, but they highlighted the potential AI has to help them learn. And with solutionary advisors' help, we revised existing policies that were the rules and safeguards in the sandbox. We also developed AI guidance, which is the invitation and suggestions on how to use and integrate AI in the classroom. These were the policies, opportunities, and needs that solutionary advisors identified and were integrated into the revised copies of the employee use policy, student use policy, and academic honesty policy. And taking the board's direction with drafting a bit of both, revising the existing policy and developing AI guidance for teachers, we then actually took action with the overall policy updates. And so the employee use policy added AI-specific definitions and use expectations for staff. The student use policy included AI definitions and components around AI literacy. The academic honesty policy was also updated to address prohibited and permissible student use of AI. And the new AI guidance document will be a living document geared towards Gilroy Unified teachers for practical AI implementation. The main changes to the employee use policy were that we added definitions of generative AI. We clarified AI's role in safety, instruction, and content creation. We established expectations for human oversight of AI-generated content, like you can't just let AI grade something and just say, yep, that sounds good. And we maintained existing device usage guidelines and enhanced specificity around appropriate AI implementation, making sure that we're in compliance with our processes here at the district. The student use policy incorporated AI literacy components with enhanced digital citizenship expectations and maintained existing acceptable use agreement structure, including monitoring and safety protocols. And here you actually see a screenshot of how we worked through and engaged as a committee to make revisions, looking at the existing policies, reviewing the revisions and then accepting those revisions through Google Docs. But the academic honesty policy revisions added AI-specific expectations around prohibited and permissible use of AI, clarified student responsibility for citing and disclosing the use of AI, maintained consequences for academic dishonesty, and defined generative AI and distinguished between AI-assisted work and AI-generated work. Lastly, the AI guidance document is a living document that is designed to evolve with the changing technology. It provides guidelines informing staff of existing laws and policies to ensure we are aware of student privacy laws. We included sample restorative practices for suspected AI misuse and support for addressing AI fluency with students, as well as a checklist for classroom AI integration. I also appreciated the grade level examples as well as the subject specific examples of when and how AI could be used. And should the board approve these items, we would email out the revised policies and guidance over the summer and provide training to staff around these policies, the guidance, and our adopted software such as Securely and Magic School AI. So board approval is requested for the employee use policy revisions, student use policy, academic honesty policy, and the new AI guidance for Gilroy Unified employees.
Are there any questions? Yes.
Ready?
I hope so.
Okay. I have a question on the student use of technology. 6163.4. So it says, the superintendent designee shall provide age-appropriate instruction regarding the district's acceptable use agreement, including instruction on recognizing and critically evaluating AI-generated content. But then also it says the board desires to protect students from access to inappropriate content on the internet and from AI-generated content.
Which,
So
I'm
it's a
sorry.
third bullet down from policy
Yep, I see that
6163.4.
one.
Third bullet
Mhm.
down. And then on the back, third paragraph, the board desires. So it's green and from AI generated content. So you see what I'm saying?
To access inappropriate matter from AI generated content. So it's inappropriate AI generated
From,
content.
so can
Correct.
cross out the end.
Okay, got it. Yep.
Okay, make that.
Well,
change.
it's,
Or?
no, it's
No.
inappropriate matter that's on the internet. That's
Yeah,
one thing.
and-
And it's inappropriate matter that is AI generated. So for example, like deep fakes, that,
Okay.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Employee use of technology. Third paragraph down. Employees shall be responsible for the appropriate use of technology and shall use the district's technological resources primarily for purposes related to their employment. The next sentence is when using district accounts, employees are expected to use AI tools only for district-related purposes.
So primarily versus only.
Yes.
How would you like it to read?
Primarily. Always good. We can ask it. We can-
That's what the board is recommending. We can make that change and
Well,
then,
What? It only adult district, only district or primarily?
We already say.
Yeah.
Change primarily.
Well, I'm
And
asking, do you
I
want
can
primarily or
also,
do you want?
I can also clarify here because it's talking about the appropriate use of technology using the district's technological resources, right? And so that can be a whole lot of things, like what if my phone connects to the wireless internet, right?
Mhm.
I'm not actively like, oh, whoops, my phone connected to my personal phone connected to the wireless internet, right? I
But it
can see
says-
that that's primarily. However, if I'm using a district-sponsored AI tool, it's not to ask AI what I'm cooking for dinner today. So it's really that distinction of when are you using the AI-specific tools versus the technological resources primarily for job-related. I mean, tech
Okay.
resources is broader, I know.
Okay. And let's see. Next paragraph and the next paragraph. AI tools used for instructional or operational purposes must be vetted and approved by the district for equity, accessibility, and data privacy compliance.
We have a process for that.
Okay. It's a lot of vetting.
It's a lot of, I'm sorry?
Vetting.
It is a lot of vetting because we want to make sure that when our teachers are asking students to complete something using an online tool, whether it is web-based or if it's a software, we want to make sure that the student's data is protected. And so sometimes, and this is part of that AI guidance and why we're asking solutionary advisors to come back in August to educate teachers about student privacy laws that protect their own rights and the information that they're sharing.
Okay. Yeah, that's in. Hang on. Oh, notice that you've changed he, she to they.
That was,
One's referring to he, she, like the superintendent, he, she. And then you change it to they. You want to be consistent?
okay, where is that? I'm sorry.
So I'm looking at employee use of technology, backside, second paragraph. This is he, she, but I've seen, I noticed it's been changed to they in a couple of places. So I just was wondering if you wanted to keep it consistent with they or keep he, she. It does say he, she. You don't, so do you want he, she, or do you want they? Like, student use of technology. Yep. I'm just asking.
no, makes
Yep,
sense.
you want? I don't know. It's me being picky. Yeah.
Clean it up.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Let's see, and, let's see. Academic honesty. Policy 5131.9. So. Consistent with the limitations expressed in this policy and with teacher consent, students may also use technology to assist with assessments, homework, and or makeup work and other uses approved by the teacher.
So it's teacher discretion about when they want a student to be able to use AI and that they communicate that expectation with the students.
Okay. I think when I just saw the assessments, so,
Mhm.
or homework, I want to give homework. I'm glad I retired. Just, okay, I'm just, this is a lot of work, it seems, on the teacher.
Students are using AI even when we have walked through classrooms. We're seeing them
Yeah.
using it. And so that's also why we're asking solutionary advisors to come in and walk us through the guidance so that teachers have an understanding of what and how students are using it, but not just that, how they can also integrate it into their own classrooms. And so thinking about what that might look like, AI can be used with assessments in a creative way. It can be used as an assessment to generate an essay from AI, keep a record of what that output was, for example. I'm thinking from an English teacher's perspective,
Yeah.
right? And then go back in and actually find the hallucinations and explain how you would strengthen this argument. That is a way to use AI as an assessment. So there's a lot of different creative ideas.
Okay.
So we don't want to limit teachers' ability to bring in AI, but we want to highlight the teacher's responsibility in expressing to students what their expectations are and allowing them the opportunity to teach students how to responsibly use it and creatively use it.
I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but I did a math calculation and I entered it. I said, solve this for me, and it took a couple seconds. It solved the problem for me.
Mhm.
Isn't it great? This is going to be very interesting to watch this roll out. Okay, thanks. I'm done.
Are there any other questions? Yes.
I'm
Trustee
just
Baker.
curious how teachers, perhaps in the middle school and high school, are they using AI detectors? How is that treated? And is there recommendations? We know they're not 100% effective, but there are some better ones out there. Could you speak to that?
So we have adopted Magic School AI as our, district-approved generative AI tool for teachers to use and also for students to use. So with regard to how, and I'm sorry, the question is, how are students using it or?
Mostly how, whether or not the teachers are using it to detect plagiarism.
Oh, got it. So we also have tools like No Red Ink, for example, or Turnitin that have an AI detector. However, sometimes those AI detectors are not completely accurate in themselves. These different tech companies are getting savvier in how they're trying to show that something was potentially AI generated. For example, if keystrokes, how many keystrokes were actually used as opposed to a copy and paste. But even a copy and paste, the student can also say, well, I was actually typing this on a different document, right? So, and then I happened to put it into this Google Doc. So it's not foolproof. Nothing really is. And so we do have tools. Teachers also understand that it's not the most accurate either. And that's why we've provided guidance in the AI guidance document on how do you address that if you suspect a student was using AI to generate content. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes, Trustee Moreno.
Thank you, President Fiac. AI is coming, or it's here. Can't do anything about it now. It's here. I mean, teachers need to get used to it being part of the classroom. We went on our spring visit to South Valley. I took a picture of the board in the classroom where it says AI use on papers and workbooks is considered cheating. Okay. Teachers can't think that way forever. And so as we move towards this, I'm very excited because AI it can be used for cheating and doing math very quickly, but it can be very powerful for other things. And so I'm happy to see that we're moving towards this because I don't consider AI, just the use of AI, to be considered to be cheating. I think if we have that, we draw that line, it's gonna create some real chaos in the classroom. So,
Any other questions or comments? Okay, this is an.
I watched Terminator the other night, so just saying, just saying.
Trustee Finisano, did you have something?
If there's no other comments, I move approval.
Yes. That was my next.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we are on to item H, adoption of reading risk screener, and this is an information/action item. Ms. Jean Wells Southland.
Good evening again, trustees. I am here this evening to seek approval of a reading risk screener adoption of our instrument. We will be bringing a contract back in August once our lawyers are done hashing out some language in the contract. But this evening, I want to talk about the requirements that we have to meet under Senate Bill 114. It passed last year, and it requires all school districts to adopt a reading risk screener. The law mandates early identification and intervention for students in kindergarten through second grade who are at risk for reading difficulties. The goal is to improve outcomes and close the achievement gaps. And just a little background on the timeline. So in May of 2024, the CDE, the California Department of Education, put together a panel of people who would determine which instruments that would move forward. So as we went away to our holiday break this year, December 31st, they released the 4 instruments that they were moving forward out of probably a selection of 30 that had been submitted to the state. We have used a reading risk screener for the last few years, Acadians. You've seen us present that data at our SIPSs. It was not moved forward, and nor was iReady. So that put us into the process of looking at the 4 reading risk screeners, and I'll talk about the one that we're moving forward this evening. But the gist of this is that once we adopt this, we are required beginning next school year to screen all students in kindergarten, first and second grade at least once per year. Typically, we'll screen them in the middle of the year, giving students the chance to have had some academic instruction to improve those outcomes, especially for our kindergartners who may not have any schooling experience. We must notify parents 15 days in advance of administering the screener, and parents will have the option to opt out. So we'll be creating policies and practices on how parents may opt out. And then within 45 days of giving the assessment, parents will be notified of their students' results. So lots of new mandates coming. The screener is considered part of the school's comprehensive instructional strategy. It's to be used by educators like other types of formative and summative assessments to inform instruction, measure student progress, identify student learning needs, and enable students, parents, and educators to discuss students' needs in a more informed way. Screening results shall be used as a flag for potential risk of reading difficulties and to provide supports and services. But really important, instructional response is the key, right? The screener is not going to do anything if we don't respond in an instructional way. It's very important that we know what the screener is not. A lot of people refer to this as the dyslexia screener. We do not test or identify dyslexia. That's something that a professional would do through the special education lane. So we will not be able to use these screeners to identify students for special education for our 504 plan. It could hint that they're having some reading difficulties and that after intervention, we might need to look at them further through a student study team or through the special education lane. But these are not, as a parent's going to get the screener, that your child has dyslexia. So it's really important that we note that. They have put some provisions in that screening English learners. The state has not set a sort of a baseline of what they think is proficient to be screened, but students should, if we have the instrument in their language, screen them in their native language. So the screener that will move forward for you to consider this evening will have a Spanish option, so we'll be able to screen students in both English and Spanish. Talked a little bit that we've used these for the last few years. So our current screener already measures those skills in the key 6 areas. So first sound fluency, letter naming fluency, phoneme segmentation, nonsense word fluency, oral reading fluency, and MAISE, which is a reading comprehension. These are all tied to the science of reading that we've been talking about for the last few years. The state of California approved these 4 screeners: Amira by Amira Learning, M-Class by Amplify, ROAR by Stanford Brain Development, and Multitudes by UCSF. And again, Acadians was not on the approved list of screeners. The panel did not feel that they had enough recent research on the use of their tool, even though all of these are DIBELS based. So DIBELS doesn't change much from one test to the other, but unfortunately, Acadians, which we've spent a lot of time training on and implementing in our schools, was not moved forward. So our evaluation process included us, our team, attending the CDE and Santa Clara County Office of Ed workshops on the screener. We attended the webinars from all 4 vendors. We met with all 4 of the vendors for demos and further evaluation. And then we set up product webinars, invited teachers, administrators, and literacy facilitators to attend. We selected the M-Class Dibbles 8th edition. It's by Amplify. It's based on the science of reading. It's nationally normed. It is very easy to administer. It's administered in the same way that teachers already administer Acadians. So we felt that that was a very easy transition for them using their iPads. They're very short 1 to 4 minute assessments that a teacher will give. The assessments are provided in both English and Spanish. They also include access to mini lessons. We really like the robust reporting system that included district level, school level, and classroom level reports. And I'll talk a little bit in a bit, but there's parity between the English and Spanish when we use M-Class paired with the Lectura version of the test. So that will help benefit our dual immersion classrooms. Again, on the left, these are the required tools to screen for: phonological and phonemic awareness, knowledge of letter names, decoding, reading fluency, reading comprehension, and the M-Class Dibbles meets all of those, and you can see the grades that they cover those for. Information on that? Just a little look. Again, we really like the robust reporting for the district-wide growth over time, so that's that data that we can share with you. Sites can share with their parents, they can share their SIPSs, they can share with their staffs to really look and target what's happening with students' reading skills. They can take it to the class level, so a classroom teacher can very quickly look at students in needing support, how they might put together instructional grouping. They can drill down to the individual students to see specifically what those students need in small group instruction and their instructional next steps. So there's little mini lessons that go with that. So we really like that. A feature that we really liked also was that it had progress monitoring, so teachers can individually monitor those students that are identified as having reading delay, and so they can see their growth over time and share this information with families. And one of the things Acadians, the current screen that we have now does not have is really family-friendly reports that are both in Spanish and English. So these are the type of reports that will go home to our families after testing is completed. This part we're really excited about is we have not had a tool to screen or assess how our students are progressing in their acquisition of Spanish language in our dual immersion classrooms. And so Lectura will provide that for us. And so as part of the adoption of this instrument, we're asking to also adopt the Lectura. Then K2, it'll look at those early learning, and 3-5, it's going to look at those comprehension, oral reading fluency for our third through fifth graders. And on our K2, as we adopt those two and train on, a teacher can see how a child in their classroom, or a parent can see how their child is developing their biliteracy journey. So it provides, again, parity side by side. So you can see, are they developing better English, better Spanish, or comparable skills for either? While there is no cost to adopt the instrument tonight, when we bring back the contract, the cost of that will be about $80,000 in year one, because we'll be providing training to all K1, 2 teachers, and then our 3 through 5 for the Lectura. The state has some one-time funds that they're contributing of $39,000, but those are one-time funds, so it's an ongoing cost will occur from year to year. So with that, I'm requesting approval of the adoption of the M-Class Dibbles reading risk screener instrument. Yes.
Thank you. How exciting. And I thinking like how teachers did it without these kinds of softwares in the past. But that 80,000, you said it's just for the first year. So in subsequent years, what are we looking at in terms
So
of
it'll
cost?
probably be about $40,000 per year. Yeah.
Any other questions? Yes, Trustee Moreno.
So are these things required of the teachers to use?
Yes, they are. The state of California, this is legislation that was passed in 2023, and it's a must do.
Okay, so then I'm guessing they're going to audit, or they're going to ask for information from
Yeah, at some
someone?
point,
Okay.
and they haven't identified how, but they will collect this data I'm sure at the state level. Probably much like we do for like our preschool with the DRDP.
Trustee Paceno.
I'm sorry if I missed it. How many times a year do I know state of California says at least once. How many times a year do we anticipate doing this?
So we will continue with our 3 times a year, and then teachers, for those students that are identified as at risk, will have progress monitoring weekly to monthly, depending on what their needs are.
Okay, and you mentioned that the first time might be mid-year?
Yes, so one, we want to give teachers the chance to learn how to use the tool so it's accurate. It takes anywhere from 3 to 8 minutes, depending on the grade, to one-to-one test each student. And we want, so you think about our kindergartners who may not have had any schooling, to test them on phonological or phonemic awareness would be an unfair identification of their abilities. So we want to give teachers time to get them in the classroom, to get them exposed to those skills, and then test them mid-year to really give us an idea, are students making progress towards meeting those grade level goals?
I'm really excited about using it to inform instruction.
Yeah,
And so
I am
I'm a
too.
little concerned about mid-year because half
Yeah.
the year is done. So
So they will take the test at the beginning of the year, but what we will consider as our baseline will be mid-year. So
Okay.
in August or September, once the teachers have had the training, they will administer it to all of their students to
Thank
get
you.
familiar, and so they'll have that data right away. Yeah,
Yes, Trustee
plus we wanted
Nelson.
them to use it.
Well, the kids also need to learn how to work in groups and
Stand in line.
stand in line and go to the bathroom correctly and not pick their nose. Am I getting too graphic? Anyway, so yeah, I mean, it's nice to do it at the beginning to inform instruction, but you also want to give them time to settle in a little bit. I like this, but I want you to look in your crystal ball. Do you think this will be it for a while? Because we've seen change after change. This is why teachers say, oh my God,
No.
here's another one. We just learned this one and now you're asking us to do this.
This is one of the reasons we really chose the M-Class tool, because it is almost identical to the administration, and just the type of testing questions and the way that they utilize the test on the iPad is almost identical to one that they're already using. We did like one of the other tools because it had a lot of other bells and whistles, but it would have been a bigger lift for our teachers and would have taken them just a lot more time to learn how to use the tool.
Okay, and sorry for confusing the drips with the dibbles.
That's
I
okay.
sent an email, I said, oh, so even I can get messed up on my acronyms sometimes.
We have lots of acronyms.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, seeing none, do I have a motion? This is an action item.
Move approval?
Second?
All in favor?
I
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Great, thank you so much, and we will bring the contract back in August. And just as a point of reference, we currently have 61 identified foster youth. Our CBEDS data shows 30, but we've had high as 90 if we consider justice youth who included in those numbers. So it's a very mobile population.
thank you.
Okay, we are on to item I, Board Letter, Community Advisory Committee, a member appointment for the 2025-2027 school year. And this is an action item. Ms. Polito.
Good evening, trustees and Dr. Mucci. It's my absolute pleasure to bring this item for board approval. The Community Advisory Committee, this is a group of parents and guardians and educators and community members who volunteer their time to serve the 11-member district of the Southeast Santa Clara County Special Education Local Planning Area, SELPA. They are committed to improving the communication between parents, caregivers, and districts to make the system work effectively and efficiently, and to bring a source of information, support, and consultation for parents and caregivers to children with special needs. The CAC sponsors training opportunities related to special education for families in the SELPA. The group also serves as in an advisory capacity for the SELPA. CAC members are approved by their local agency, and that is why I'm bringing this tonight. It is my absolute pleasure to bring forth Melissa Vasquez and Grace Hernandez. I have gotten to know both these women over the years as parents, and they are the most amazing advocates, not only for their own children, but for all the children in our district. So it gives me chills, and I want to bring forth for your approval.
Thank you. This is an action item. Are there any questions or comments? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
And if I may just also There's a lot of love and joy over here. I do want to commend Ms. Polito and Ms. Vasquez, and I know Grace is not here today. This is another step in parent outreach that we have taken this year. And I would like to thank Ms. Polito for bringing together a group of parents that convenes monthly. This is, again, one more thing that we have, earlier I was talking about all the things. I cannot list everything that we are doing. But thank you for being a parent leader in our community and not just advocating for your own children, but other children in the community. Your voice matters and your participation in all the work, but also working with us as a district team matters. This is hard work, and we can be stumbling in the dark and isolation unless we have you alongside us. This work cannot be done. So I do want to thank you and all the other parents that are working so closely with Anna. So thank you.
Okay, now we are on to items 10A and B. This is action information items regarding the maintenance facilities.
Good evening, Board and Dr. Mucci. I'm here to ask for the board's approval for a new contract with Silicon Valley Paving to replace the damaged asphalt at Rod Kelly Elementary. The asphalt's around the kinder area, and most of it's been damaged through roots and kind of lifting, so we're trying to bring it back into spec and replace it all.
Board, are there any questions or comments? This is an action item. Do I have a motion?
Move approval?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you
Ullman.
all. Wish you a wonderful summer.
Stay busy, Matt.
All right, now we are on to item 10B, the new purchase of a walk-in refrigerator freezer for the Child Nutrition Department at Luigi Aprea.
Yes, thank you. I'm filling in for Patty Couture as well. As you know, this refrigerator freezer unit will replace the existing one sitting literally on the parking lot. The new one is going to be directly behind inside the kitchen staff. We did receive 3 quotes. If approved, East Bay Restaurant Supply will be awarded the contract, or actually the approval of purchase, for $184,476, funded by the Kitchen Infrastructure and Training Funds for the entire purchase of the walk-in refrigerator.
Are there any questions? Yes.
Since Matt's here, if I remember correctly where it's gonna go, the asphalt in that area was also really bad. Is that accurate? Do you remember
On the playground in the basketball court?
where the refrigerator freezer's gonna go?
No, right.
Isn't that between the building and like the area where they sit and eat?
Correct. Kind of more closer to the
Okay.
street side, yeah.
When I was there visiting, the asphalt was bad. Is that being looked at all for?
Yeah, I got a couple coming to FSC one, the parking lot. We got a couple drains sinking.
Okay.
And then over there by the bicycles coming in. And then we do have some coming around the edge.
I just know that if you're gonna put that kind of thing out there, it's gotta be on good ground and don't want it to sink. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah, we
thank you.
just try to take the worst as it comes and.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions or comments? This is an action item. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we are on to item 11, board member reports. Are there any board member reports? Yes, trustee Nelson.
So I just sent Dr. Munchie an email, so
Anita, can you check? Melanie told me she had uploaded some pictures that trustee Nelson had shared with her. Do you see anything?
and I just sent her the same picture.
Might be in the junk folder.
Okay, if you send it to Anita, we can,
I thought we
We can
really know
post them now.
more PowerPoint
No,
presentations.
it wasn't a PowerPoint because Melanie said, just send me the picture. Okay.
she did,
so-
and she actually, the reason I know is she said she was going to give you kudos. You didn't get anything? Can
No,
you,
but I just I
Okay.
just forwarded some.
Anita,
photos.
can you,
I just forwarded.
can we post those pictures that trustee Nelson, she just forwarded you some pictures? Thank you.
How about while they're looking,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can
yeah,
go. Okay, So just wanted to say, I didn't write anything down, so I'm going to just wing this. Being part of graduation for the first time was just fantastic. I never imagined when I started this journey what it'd be like to be part of this family, in a way. But to watch the kids cross these stages and get their diplomas and seeing families and children, kids, even adults crying as they graduate out. I didn't have any idea really how amazing those moments would be. And on a personal note for me, I wanted to thank Dr. Munshi and all of you for what you've done for me, because this has been a bit of a whirlwind starting in, I say this a lot, but I will keep saying it. It's like being dropped on a moving treadmill and you got to run. And every single one of you, I don't know, Paul's not here and Rilla's not here. And those guys, this is, we do our job, but you guys are the ones that, take it to the streets. So I just want to say thank you to my fellow board members and to, you guys. I used to walk in this room and watch these meetings and I think, who are these crazy people on the perimeter that sit here for 2, 3, 4 hours? You can't, that's crazy. And now I've gotten to know everybody, and I can see now that it goes beyond a paycheck. It's a passion. And I just want to say thanks. Oh, come on, Matt. You get scared next time. All right, hopefully you found Michelle's pictures by now.
Okay, Trustee Delvino.
While we're waiting for your pictures, Michelle, I attended the El Roble historical statues,
Well,
and I know
that's-
other people were
that's-
there too.
That's.
Just,
Don't give it away.
it's just so much fun. And so I just really appreciate the teachers there and how they made so many accommodations for all the different needs of students so they could participate and be part of it. It was just really, really sweet. I just always like being at those events. So shout out to the El Roble staff. Also, I attended the noon, oh wait, what is it? What's the Rotary called? The noon Rotary? It's not noon. No, afternoon?
Lunch?
I think so.
Noontime. Dr. Munshi, what's your Rotary Club officially called? Is it, it's noon? Okay, all right. So they sponsored the senior barbecue over at the Christmas Hill Park and invited the other Rotary clubs to attend. It was such a fun event. And the reason I'm bringing it up here is I thought clearly we need to get youth involved. And I can't wait for next year because I think they're going to resume it. It was always an annual thing and it had suspended.
Like 12th grade?
No,
Or like
seniors, the
seniors?
seniors, yes. It's Gilroy seniors, right? And it was an annual event, but it has been suspended because of COVID. They're bringing it back. And we had so much fun engaging with the seniors, talking to them. They were so excited about the barbecue. And I just kept thinking, kids need to be out here. They would just love it. That whole intergenerational piece of it. I would just really like to be able to help our youth go to that next year and be part of that. I think it would be really special for them. Also, I'm going to be on the lot of Rotary conversations today, but the District Rotary Youth Leadership Academy Rotaract group for the district.
acronym for
Yeah, I know, it's a lot. But what's important for me about that is that I get to be able to support with mentorship and guidance around the youth in Rotaract and who also go to RILA. So they need some more adult supervision so that our kids stay on track. And so I get to be part of that district event, effort, and I get to engage with Gilroy youth. So I'm really excited about that in a different way. And then also I wanted to share that I sponsored Senate Bill 743. This was authored by State Senator Dave Cortese. Senate Bill 743 addresses longstanding funding disparities between California's public schools by creating the Educational Equalization Account. This new fund would provide additional support to school districts that receive less local property tax revenue, helping equalize per pupil funding across the state. The bill ensures that no existing funding is reduced. Instead, future increases in education funding will be used to close the gap and give every student, regardless of where they live, a fair opportunity to succeed. It was co-sponsors of this bill include the Silicon Valley Educational Foundation and the Santa Clara County School Board Association. I sponsored it.
Yay. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I went to the statue show, and
Oh,
so
wow,
the
what
kids stand there, and you have to push, a star
their
or
hand.
something, on their hand, otherwise they just stand there like a statue, so you push the button to have them talk. This was at the end, this is, Madame Curie, so I walked over, I said, oh, be careful of that stuff, it'll kill you. I mean, she's in 5th grade, so I figured it was okay to say that. And, a younger, no. Then I said, I'm so sorry to hear about your husband because of course, her husband was killed tragically. Anyway, next picture. Yeah,
Beautiful costume.
beautiful costume. Help me out. Starts with a C. Kata. Huh. Yeah, it starts with a C.
Calaveras.
Not it. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Jeez. Anyway, excellent job. Okay, next. So, well, okay, next. Simón Bolivar. Okay, and he gave his presentation completely in Spanish. He was quite proud of his role. Okay, next. Sacagawea. And yeah, I like the, whatever that staff is, it's a floaty, it's, with
Pool noodle.
painter's tape. So it was very creative. Okay, next. This is, it took, I wasn't sure who it was. The mustache should have given it away, but this is Teddy Roosevelt. Glasses, the glasses and the, yeah. Okay, next. Amelia Earhart. Yeah. Okay, next. Emiliano Zapata. So,
At the Nerf ball.
yeah, the nerd, yeah.
That's great.
Okay, the next. This is Wayne Gretzky. And this kid picked Wayne Gretzky because he actually plays hockey, ice hockey, he's very good at it. Okay, and the next one. I couldn't remember this guy's name. I said, okay, help me out. Okay. Bob Marley. Mother Teresa was there. Rita. And of course, Einstein, and he had E equals MC squared on the back. Dr. Einstein. And so I asked, and I saw this before at Glenview, and I asked the student, okay, do you know what E equals MC squared means? No. So I had to, explain it, but you'll get it later, but at least you should know what the letters stand for. Okay, next. Okay, and then there was another batch. There were two batches. Yeah, there's another one.
On the next folder.
Yeah, the next email, let's see. Sorry. Nope. Close that and then go to the other, role play. There you go. Yeah, that one. Leonardo.
Oh, yeah.
This is Mohammed, and this kid knew the whole history of number 42, which was pretty cool. Yep. And next, is there something else?
Becky Robinson.
So, and this guy, I really liked Picasso. Really was getting into that. He had the hat and everything. He was very, very much, I think that was it. Just want to, show some of the pictures of the kids. They really went all out, and all the grades were able to tour the statues. So they did an excellent job.
Had to do that.
Fun.
Yeah, they did.
Okay.
All ones.
Anyway, I just wanted to show the pictures, and of course, I went, so I went to most of the graduations as well, so that was always fun.
Any other board reports? Yes,
I
trustee
just want to
Bigger.
say was it me? Okay. I enjoyed all the end of the year celebrations, including the awards and the high school graduations. I wasn't able to attend the middle school graduation, but just yesterday I was reading some comments on the Gilroy community Facebook page. And so I guess one of the questions I have is, are we reading that and do we do anything with that information? Do we address it in any way? No, okay.
Yeah, it's.
There was just some questions about it being back to back and why they were so.
That's not agenda item.
Well, it's not an agenda item, but that it's just, it's something
You
that
can, you can recommend a future agenda item
okay.
if you'd like to discuss.
Okay.
Also, these are
Well,
things
I'm
that
not-
staff leadership typically, we'll
Okay.
have a debrief with all the site leaders and counselors that plan the event. So I wouldn't want to speculate ahead of the debrief.
No, I kind of thinking out loud, what we do with that information. I also just wanted to say I won't be at the next board meeting, which is on August 7th. I'll be in Dallas with a bunch of, we're going to be at a dance competition, so that will
Oh,
be
that'll be fun.
exciting. Yes. And then the last thing I do want to say, because this hit pretty close to my heart, was the death of this student. And I know that there was an announcement that went out. And as I understand it, it did involve drinking and driving. So I guess what I want to just say is, no, it's not an agenda item. Okay,
We
it's
can't-
not.
Yeah, we don't know.
Okay, all right.
Speculation.
It is speculative. However, if that is the case, I just hope that we are, that we will do some education around it. And the timing was such that, the students are out of school, and I appreciate the fact that there was a message that was sent out right away, offering support. So I know that's not a board member's report, but it's kind of the gray area. So that's
Thank
it.
you. All right. Seeing no other board member reports, are there any upcoming and new referral agenda items? Yes, trustee Nelson.
I have a request from somebody at Gilroy High School, and I'll send an email along. There is a preference among the students for more filtered water refilling stations around the campus, because they've apparently done some testing, and there are some low levels of undesirable chemicals in the existing drinking fountains. I don't know how true or false that is. But it would also encourage them to bring their own containers. So I'll send this along. It was a request from some teachers at Gilroy High School. For the airport ones? Okay.
Okay, announcements. The next regular meeting of the Board of Education will be held on Thursday, August 7th, 2025. Closed session will begin at 5:30, followed by the regular meeting at 7. The agenda will be available on the district's website by 5 p.m. on Friday, August 1st. And the board will adjourn to closed session to continue our conversation. Thank you.